everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be making a cake topper, but I'm going to be using a frame to go around the message on the cake topper just to make things a little bit more interesting and jazz it up a little bit more. So I've got the cake topper here that I've just designed and made. Let me pop it against this mat so you can see it a little bit better. As you can see, I am using the stars frame today. This is available on Cricut Access, and I'm also using the October Twilight font that I prefer for all of my cake toppers. So let's get started on how to make this fab cake topper. This is the design that I've put together today for Georgina, and I'm going to show you how I made this and how I have made everything fit together so that when it cuts, it will cut in one piece and we will be able to back it with another piece to make it double-sided. So let's start off first of all by finding a frame. So if you just go over to images, and I've got my saved option ticked here because I've got the particular star one that I'm using here. But if you just go onto your regular search and just type in circle frame, and then I also ticked the box for cut only, you'll get all these different options come up, and there's lots and lots of different ones for different occasions with little mountains. I really like the one with the flamingos. You might have seen that just on my saved ones. This one's beautiful with the cat as well. So if I just go back to my saved, this is the one I'm using, so it's got the stars on it. If I just click on add to canvas now, I'm going to leave it at the size that it comes up on the screen because I'm going to resize it once I've got everything on there that I want. So next I'm going to go over to text, and I'm going to type in the wording for my cake topper. Okay, which is happy 10th birthday, Georgina. As you can see at the moment, the text is all aligned to the left hand side of the box, and it is spaced a bit randomly. So we're going to sort that out as our next little bit of project. I will tell you this font I'm using is my favourite cake topper font. I use it for almost all of my cake toppers because I think the way that it's so swirly and it just looks so cute. This is called October Twilight, and it was purchased from Creative Fabrica about 12 months ago, I would say, but I think it's still available on there. At the time, I think I paid about £6 with the dollar conversion. The reason that I purchased it was because I sell these, I need a commercial license to do so. So if you are selling, you must have a commercial license for your fonts. Don't just be going onto Da Font and downloading fonts and using them if you haven't got the commercial licenses to do so. So the next step then is to center this. So if we just go up the top to alignment and just click on the center, and that has now centered our font. Let me move that over just to that side for a second so we've got a bit more space to maneuver. Okay, so that is quite good. What I'm going to do now is come up to advanced again and click on there, and then I'm going to ungroup it to lines to start with. Alright, now I'm going to get my little frame and I'm going to put it on there, and what I'm going to do is just make my frame a little bit bigger by just clicking on it and just using the drag handle. I'm making sure that I'm using the right hand drag handle because I don't want to undo the padlock and distort the actual shape of the circle. So next I'm going to start off by putting my happy so that it's touching at the top here and then on the side. Then what I shall do is select my middle line with the 10th on it, and I like to make the age a little bit bigger when I'm making a cake topper, so I am going to unlock the padlock this time. I'm going to give it a little stretch down so it makes these words a little bit bigger. I think the T and the H probably needs to be smaller, so let's go to ungroup to letters in the advanced menu again, and I'm just going to select those two and make them a little bit smaller. Right, so that is fine. Let's now move on to birthdays. So just move it down a little bit. I think I'm going to move the happy up a touch so that it just overlaps there. Let's group together the T and the H with the 10 again. So I'm just going to select those in the layers panel on the right hand side. Once they're grey, they are highlighted. Click on group. Now I can move this around as one entity. If I put that up there, that's going to touch there. I know my 1 is still floating. We're going to sort that out in a minute. Let's click on birthday and get that up there. I would like birthday to be touching over this side, so it is on this star, holding on to that nicely. Let's just make Georgina a little bit smaller. And we're going to put that, let's have a look. Let's make that a touch smaller again. I might make birthday a little bit smaller as well. Okay. As long as it's still touching on both sides, that's fine. And we can make the B touch in a moment just by ungrouping it again. So this is all good on here. The eye needs to be coming out completely. So this eye has got the dot on the top floating and we need to fix that. So the easiest way to do that, and the way that I like to do it, is click on shapes, get just a basic square, nothing fancy at all. Just put it down to the bottom, unlock your padlock and make it really, really skinny and about that big, not very big at all. Bring it over to your letter that's got the dot there. So it's now in between the dot and the main body of the letter. Just drag over it to select both of those and then come down to the bottom here and click on weld. And now that eye is attached using that little tiny dot of square. So we can also take this one out of Georgina, get rid of that. This one we need to select and duplicate. So now we've got 2 and we can pop those back in there where they go. And they look great. There we go. Okay, so if I just adjust them, just keep adjusting them is all I do. So now the only one I've got left to fix is this 10. So let's now ungroup that again because I regrouped it, didn't I? You can see on the one that I'm actually using, I've got it attached onto the H and onto the B. My words are a little bit further over on that one, so let's try moving it over a bit more. It's all about playing about with it, so I'm just going to do that and then I'll come back to you once I've got that sorted and show you. Alright then, so basically once you've messed about with all your numbers and you've got them how you want them to be, which is how I have done it with my original one here, you are ready then to weld, and I will show you what to do now with that. Okay, so once you're happy with how your words are, you can just now select everything on your screen. If you've only got one thing on your screen, you can click on the select all icon at the top, but I do have another cake topper open over there. So I'm just going to drag over to that. And then what you'll want to do is come down to the bottom and click on weld. Now that will make that all into one layer. As you can see on the right hand side, all of our layers have disappeared and we've just got our basic ones. I am going to delete this one because I've got the one that I'm using over here and I've resized this and everything. Alright then, so the next step in our cake topper journey is to sort out our second layer, because I like to have my cake toppers double-sided and I like to have glitter on both sides. So the easiest way to do this is to make a mirror image of the image that we've got on the screen and we just sandwich them together. So the first thing to do is get your sizing how you want it to be. So just make sure that you're happy with the size of your cake topper. So grab your ruler and just check out the size that you've got on there. I'm going to just make this a little bit bigger. I want it to be 14. So I'm just going to go up to the top into the sizing box here and just click in there and type in 14. And then that makes my cake topper 14 centimeters across in total. So now that I'm happy with the sizing, I'm going to come over to the top and click on duplicate. So now I've got 2 copies of the same cake topper just there, and what I want to do now is mirror this, but instead of doing it when I get through to the make it screen, I'm going to do it here. So if I go up to flip and I just flip it horizontally and it makes a mirror image, and that is now ready to cut. So let's go through to make it. And now we can arrange our mat. I am using A4 cardstock today, so I'm going to go into material size and just change my size of my paper. I think I might be able to get another one on here, so I'm going to now go onto my second mat. I will click on the 3 dots and then click on Move Object, and then it brings up this screen with all your mats that are available. I'm going to click on the first mat, get the little green tick on there, click on Confirm, and then that is there. And as you can see, it will fit. It just needs to be over a little bit, because if we put it at the bottom, it's going to overlap with the stars and we don't want that to happen. So that is there, ready. Let's get the mat set up and cut this out, and then we can weed it. So I'm going to be using a light grip mat today. Let's just take the cover off. As you can see, it is a very, very sticky light grip mat because it is quite new. I've only used it a couple of times. So let's pop our piece of card down on there. Just use my brayer to give it a good press down. Okay, that's ready to go. So just back on the computer screen then, let's go through to continue. I've got my maker connected by USB today, so it's a little bit quicker, and I'm going to use the glitter cardstock setting just here. It is saved in my favourites, but if you haven't got this setting as a favourite, if you just go up to Browse or Materials, and you can type in whatever material you're looking for in the search or materials box. So you just type in glitter and it'll bring up all of the options for glitter, either cardstock, HTV and all that sort of stuff. So let's click on glitter cardstock and it will then go through to this screen. So you can see the base material is set. I'm leaving my pressure at default today, and then it tells you what tools you need. So no tool in clamp A, the fine point blade in clamp B, which is the one that comes with your machine and the majority of us use all the time. So now we can load the mat and do the cutting, and then I'll come back to you in a second. So the cut has finished, and this took about 20 minutes to cut because it was pretty complicated, I guess. So I'm just going to explain to you the reason why it's important to weld, because I think I forgot to say that before. So when you're cutting out a font like this, you want to be able to make sure that all your letters are actually joined together. And if you don't weld, all your letters will cut individually, and that is no good. So you need to make sure that you weld. So I'm just going to get this off the mat now by just flipping my mat over, and I'm just peeling my piece of card away from it. So I'm just going to get rid of the outer piece of card first of all. So the cut is really nice and crisp, and I'm quite pleased with how that's turned out. So now I'm going to try and get this off, and this could prove to be a little bit more tricky. So I'm going to use my spatula. I'm just going to ease up this cardstock using my spatula, and I'm just going to really, really carefully prise it off the mat. As I said at the start, this is a pretty sticky mat, so we need to be really careful with it. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to probably speed it up because I think it could take me some time, and then I will come back to you when we're putting everything together. I'm guessing that you've worked out that took quite a while to do. I'm just going to scrape away my excess little pieces that are stuck on my mat, just using my squeegee to do this. The next step then is just to have a bit of a tidy up and get out any other bits that need to be weeded out. You can see that some of the pieces here are still in the actual cake topper, so what we need to do is just get all of those out, and I'll just use a normal weeding tool. What I do is flip over the cake topper pieces because it's easier to see on the back usually when you've got pieces that need to be removed. So I'm just going to poke them out using my weeding tool, and I just pull them out using my fingers. Nothing else very fancy to this, it's just a case of going over your design and just checking that you've got every piece weeded out that needs to be weeded out. Okay, so now I'm happy I've got all of the bits out of my pieces that I need to. Just to mention that if you think your cake topper is going to be quite flimsy when you put it together, you might want to make another cut out of one piece, not both, just with some thicker card, and then use that as a sort of sandwich layer in the middle of the two pieces of glitter just to make it a little bit stronger. I think this one will be okay once it's glued together, so I'm going to glue it now. I'm going to be using some tacky glue in one of these needle pointed bottles. This is just such an easy tool to use and just makes things really easy for when you are gluing things like this together, because you can get into all of the intricate parts of your design with the glue. So I'm just going to glue it all together and then I'll stick it together as well. Okay, so once you've got your glue all set up on your cake topper, what you want to do is turn over your backing one. Just pick up your other one and just very carefully pop it down so that it's in the right spot. And the thing that I like about using tacky glue for this is that you can move it around a little bit. If you've got a little bit that's not quite lined up, you can slide the glue because it's quite pliable. So the bit where you're going to struggle probably to get it to match up is going to be the lines. So just take your time, don't rush, give everything a good press down as you go once you're happy with its placement. The other thing that I really like about these needle pointed glue bottles is that if there's any bits now that I feel need a little bit of extra glue, I can quite easily just squeeze my bottle into the gap and just pop a little spot of glue in there and not have to worry about being able to fit that in there. So that is the cake topper almost finished. All we need to do now is attach our stick to it. There's a couple of different options that you can use for your stick. I just use a regular bamboo stick, and I'm just going to turn over my cake topper and I will just glue it onto the back there with some hot glue, and then that will be ready to go for Georgina's birthday. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, I'd love to see you again for another. So don't forget to subscribe. Drop me any questions or comments that you might have down below. And if you did learn something new today, hit the like button to let me know. Have a great week. Take care of yourselves and I'll see you soon. Bye.